What's up, guys? It's Seth bringing you another PC build guide. Now this one's going to be for under $1,000 for May 2013. I know I've been kind of away from doing PC build guides for a little while, and as you saw, if you've been on my channel recently, I've just started posting videos again. Hopefully, I'll be posting at least one a day or so between the build guides and tutorials and unboxing and reviews and all that great stuff. But anyways, into the build guide. Now, like I said, this is for under $1,000, and I've decided that for most of the under $1,000 builds, unless it's specifically for Intel, I really think that AMD is the way to go with their FX line of processors. The A350 has just been benchmarking so well in multiple tests compared to comparable Intel processors, and it's generally around $40 less than the Intel processors that's most competitive towards. And, 8 cores and stuff like that, it really doesn't matter. Saying you have 8 cores isn't necessarily saying you have better performance, but for any multi-core games and tasks, which there are more of now, compared to maybe a year or two ago, it really works quite well. So as you can see, as I was just saying, the FX A350 is the processor that I decided to go with. Like I said, benchmarks have been amazing for it. Very competitive in the pricing. $180 is very good. Of course, you can definitely change this build slightly and then make it into an Intel build guide. Obviously, you'd have to change the motherboard as well as the CPU in order to do that. And that would generally cost around $40 to $50 more depending on which CPU from Intel you went with. And I just think for the money that you do save and for the performance that you do get, when you're dealing with under $1,000, kind of that still fairly budget area of a PC build, I really do think that the A350 is probably your best bet. For cooling that down, the H50 from Corsair, very good, very easy to mount. Like I said, any of these closed loop water cooling systems are great. They're just pretty much like fans, sometimes even simpler than fans to install. You just screw it into your regular fan area and that's about it. And it cools the CPU down very well. And for just $50, you really could not go wrong. We chose the ASRock 990FX Extreme 4 for the motherboard. Now this does feature a lot of awesome features. Obviously USB 3.0 and things like that are all included with this. It's a fairly high-end board, even though it doesn't come in at a super high-end price. It can fit pretty much anything that you would need, and for under $1,000 build, you really don't need tons of features like you would maybe find from an Asus board. And for $140, this is probably the best type of motherboard to be going with. Of course, you can definitely go for a higher end motherboard, maybe in that $200 range if you wanted to spend a little bit more money on an Asus board. That would be my best recommendation outside of the ASRock 990FX. But really, in my opinion, this build works fine with the 990FX and should be more than okay for powering everything that you need it to. Went with kind of an interesting choice for the RAM. It is Corsair. Again, a few Corsair components already in this build. But it's 8 GB, but it's only one stick, so it's not, multiple channels or anything like that. It's only one stick, which doesn't, make anything easier to use. But performance has been pretty good with this type of RAM. Pricing is pretty good. Of course, you can go from, you can choose RAM from, say, G.Skill for 8 GB. It's going to be around the same price. RAM is not super expensive right now, and, other brands offer comparable prices, but I decided to throw in something a little bit different with this build and go for a one-stick RAM set, which is not something you really see normally with 8 GB, but it should work well. Plus Corsair, you really cannot go wrong. Corsair and Asus are two brands that I always kind of just trust automatically. For the storage, try and get a better picture there. The Samsung 840 series 120 GB SSD. We went with an SSD simply because if you don't have enough money for both types of drives, an SSD and a hard drive, you really should be going for an SSD. You kind of just need to have one in any gaming PC. In general, when I switched to a SSD compared to my previous hard drive, which, it was refurbished, which didn't help anyways, but just in general, a hard drive, it's so much slower. Solid state drives are significantly faster. Games and your operating system and everything just loads up so much faster that I would recommend getting a solid state drive before your regular hard drive pretty much anytime, no matter what. Granted, you do have a little bit of money left in this build, around $80 before that 1,000 mark, so you could fit in a fairly good, say 1 terabyte or 500 gigabyte hard drive if you want to have extra storage. But 120 will fit pretty much everything that you need for the majority of your software. Outside of that, the last main component is the Asus HD 7850, so it's another AMD component. Basically, 7850, newest line of their GPUs, granted 8000 series is coming out fairly soon, I think, but I've seen very, very good reviews of this card, and Asus, again, just something I pretty much trust no matter what, and considering its performance is pretty good in my opinion compared to other 7850s. Asus definitely probably the brand to go with for this graphics card. Of course, there are other options, say 7770 or something like that, that you could go with and save a little bit of money. But I think this is definitely a good card for playing virtually any game right now without any issue. For the case, went with the Cooler Master CM692. Pretty good case, nothing too special about it. $90, it doesn't include any special features, but it's an ATX mid-tower case and should fit everything that you want. Last but not least, the Antec Basic Plus 550 watt 80 plus certified power supply. So it is semi-modular, so it has the main connections like the 24 pin, not modular, but the other components and connectors and whatnot, those are all modular as you can see here, but only the main cords are not modular, which is fine. That's pretty much how a lot of PSUs are. And it's 80 plus certified, can't really go wrong there. Very good reviews of it, and only $70. So overall, it should be good, and it gives you around 100 watts or so of extra space before you would be getting into that range of kind of stressing the power supply in order to run your computer. And under gaming loads, generally I recommend going at least 100 watts higher than what say PC Power Picker says that you should have. And then kind of the last most uninteresting part of the PC build is indeed the optical drive, which is a regular HP drive. You honestly don't even need these anymore. In my opinion, go with an external drive. It's easier to use. Don't have to worry about installing it. Don't have to have it in the front of your PC or anything like that. So you could just have it on your desktop and be fine. External optical drives are pretty much the way to go. In my opinion, I do run an optical drive internally in my computer, but next time I build a PC, I don't even think I'm going to get one. I just think that, they're a little bit of a waste of money and not really necessary anymore. But, you're free to use them if you want to. So this is a good one to choose if you indeed do want to use an internal optical drive. So this does come out to $909.46. Doesn't include shipping, but it does include $20 in mail-in rebates, which tend to, go in and out of existence pretty fast. When I made this build the other day, there was only a $10 mail-in rebate for the H50, so I would definitely suggest getting this as soon as possible to save as much as you possibly can if you are interested in this build and actually making it yourself. So only $909, a lot of room to play around, and after shipping you could pretty much fit a few other things in there if you wanted to, or upgrade a few components if you wanted to. Probably the addition of a regular hard drive would be my main suggestion if you're going for that. But that's about it. So more build guides and tutorials and all that great stuff, as well as reviews and unboxings coming very soon to the channel. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of those. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.